Welcome to American Dreams, Keys to Success, with your host, Alan Olson.
Welcome back. I have here today with me Ramesh Manian from the Station Café in San Carlos. Ramesh, you have an interesting background. I understand that you're a mechanical engineer, and then you got a degree in software development.
Yeah, but
How did you go from all of this into owning your own restaurant?
firstly, thanks very much, Alan, for inviting me to have a conversation here. Really enjoy meeting you and talking about this. Yeah, I do have a bachelor's in mechanical engineering. Then I got an opportunity to come and work in a computer science at Unisys Corporation back in early 90s. I was working at one of their subsidiaries in Bombay in India, and this guy who was the head of Unisys Corporation of the project that I was working in came and asked me if I would do a project with him for a few months. Next thing I know, I'm in Mission Viejo, California, doing software programming. And then I did that for several years and then started to do marketing and sales for the startup company, at the time startup, now it's a billion-dollar organization, software company called Tipco Software. Did that for a few years, and then I went out on my own, doing a couple of technology startups. And during that time, I took an interest in cooking. And I was very surprised how much I like cooking. Then I started doing it at home and started to expand it. Then I said, okay, let me learn to do professional cooking. So there was a little tiny Italian restaurant across the street from my house. And I went up to the chef and asked him if he would teach me. And he said, sure. Next morning, I was elbow deep in pizza dough and making bread and pizzas. And over the next 6 months, I learned a lot of the professional cooking techniques, especially Italian cooking techniques. And after that, I became a Sunday chef. And then that restaurant got sold and became a Polish restaurant. I found myself out of my Sunday job. Then that's when I decided, I said, why not start a restaurant? And that was 2 years ago. Actually, 2 years ago this month.
So when you started into this venture of being self-employed, first of all, did you buy an existing business?
I did. I took a small deli that was existing and turned it into a restaurant, doing pizzas, and now we also do specialty coffees. It's probably our coffee making method is a very special coffee making method called pour-over method. And we do that, and we are one of the highest-rated Italian restaurants in San Carlos, in the peninsula.
Wow! So
sorry, a little bit of plug for
and that's fine. But you went. Was this a process of experimenting what worked and what didn't with your customer base?
Absolutely. Like most things, when you're doing a small business, you start with an idea and you iterate over it. You keep fine-tuning it. You keep changing many aspects of it till you get it right. And once you think you get it right, you've got to start all over again and do the same thing again, because business doesn't stand still. And you can't just do incremental changes and suddenly, all of a sudden, you have the magic bullet.
So what's the difference between working for yourself versus somebody else?
I never quite understood about working for oneself or working for somebody else. You're always working for somebody else. You're working for your customers. You're working for a particular cause, working for a particular event. Granted, not having a boss might give a little bit of benefit in terms of time and flexibility, that kind of things. But end of the day, you're always working for a cause. And when you have that in your mind, I think you have a chance of doing a successful business.
Does business come easy?
No. It's probably... Especially restaurant business is probably the hardest business, toughest business I've ever worked in. I've worked in software businesses and industries. I've made several deals that are much, much larger than my restaurant ever takes in a year. That said, restaurant business is a microcosm of a large business. It has all the aspects of a large business. Customer service, feedbacks, crisis management, logistics, and you name it, personnel, difficult personnel. You have all of that all crammed into one tiny little business, and it takes every minute that you can give it. I've never worked in a tougher business, but it's also one of the most rewarding businesses.
What do you say? What's rewarding about it?
Well, there is this immediate gratification that you can feel. You have somebody who has come in hungry, and you serve them. They're very happy, they're content, and you put a smile on their face. That's incredibly gratifying. But beyond that, it's also gratifying that many of the small changes that you can do to the business, the feedback is fairly quick. You can fine-tune that kind of a feedback loop is very gratifying.
So I'm visiting here today with Ramesh Manian. He's the owner of the Station Café in San Carlos. Ramesh, we have to take a quick break. We'll be right back after these messages.
Protecting your family's health and welfare is a sacred trust. At Greenstein Rogoff Olson Company, we know that sound financial planning will protect them now and in the future. We're certified public accountants with tax services for the highly successful. For your business and your family, call GrowCo.
Greenstein Rogoff Olson Company will help you manage your financial affairs so you can focus on what's really important in life.
GrowCo, helping you along the way.
Apple pie, baseball, and now here's All-American Alan Olson.
Welcome back. I'm visiting here today with Ramesh Manian. He's the owner of the Station Café in San Carlos. Ramesh, before the break, we're talking about what it's like being self-employed. And have you ever run your own business in the past?
Yeah, I have. I've had technology startups before, and had a software company back in 2000, which really focused on new technologies to make information very relevant to an individual. Did that for a few years. But coming back to the current business, it is one of the most, as I was telling you last, it's one of the most interesting businesses, but it's not without its challenges. You know, we started in 2010 in November, and having known really next to nothing about the business, it took me several months to get it started, to understand what it means to run a business, small business. A technology business is vastly different from something like a restaurant, and the principles are still the same. That said, when you have live customers coming in, you learn a lot from them. And having done that now for about 18 months, we now have our customers are very happy. Like I said, we are the highest rated restaurant in San Carlos. We out of the Yelp rating, I'm going by Yelp rating, we average about 4.6 out of 5 stars.
Wow!
And which is unusual for a restaurant that's been around for 2 years. And part of it is keeping things simple. Our whole goal is we're a modest place. We have great food, great service, and let everything else work itself out. And when having taken that keep it simple attitude, which has really benefited us a lot, now our weekends are fully booked all the time. And like I said, we also make incredibly good coffee and great Italian food. And that particular way of doing the business, keeping things really true to the core, has always been very, very good to us over the last several months.
So, Ramesh, a lot of people listening to the show will be thinking, I'm a software engineer, or I'm doing, I'm an employee of a business. Maybe I want to go start my own business. What's the most important lesson that you've learned in this process of transitioning from Silicon Valley high-tech field into a restaurant?
I don't think a restaurant business is any different from a technology business in the core aspect of what you want to be. As an entrepreneur, you have to have an idea. You have to believe in the idea. And you want to change, you have to want to change something. And in my case, I wanted to change my life. My life as a technology entrepreneur was, not only was it very busy, I felt like I was not really giving back something to the immediate community or for that matter, for my own self, like I was talking about instant gratification and personal gratification, and I decided to change that. And as much as that restaurant itself was a little bit of an accident for me, because I just went to learn how to cook from the restaurant right across from my street, I fell in love with it. And when I fell in love with it, I wanted to change the way I did the business in a restaurant. Most Italian restaurants, when you go to, for example, you are not really treated. You're treated as one of the many customers. People don't remember your names. They don't remember what you ordered. And I wanted to give a very personal service to you. And that was my unique selling proposition to this restaurant. But end of the day, for anyone who wants to change their life, you still have to believe in what you want to do, and you work very hard and never give up.
Yeah, good advice there. It's I like the way you summarize that: having a clear vision, firm conviction. This is what I want to do. Believing you can get it, and then making change. Change not only to yourself, but also to the lives of others around you. Ramesh, we need to take a quick break. We'll be right back after these messages. I'd like to hold you over for another segment.
Absolutely.
He's the world's most trustworthy man. Tax filing deadlines are scheduled around his vacation calendar. The IRS agent who audited his client apologized.
I don't always advise people on their taxes, but when I do, I save them every penny legally possible.
GROCO CPAs and Advisors.
Come to GROCO and stay wealthy, my friend.
Apple pie, baseball, and now here's All-American Alan Olson.
Welcome back. We're visiting here today with Ramesh Manian. He is a owner and founder of the Station Café in San Carlos. And Ramesh, before the break, we're talking about the greatest lessons learned and what drives you in your business. And I think you hit on some key points of first establishing that you have a belief, a vision, and that you believe in fulfilling this and changing the lives of not only yourself but also the lives of others. But I'm going to move away from this a little bit more, because you're really a true entrepreneur. You don't stop at one idea. You have many ideas going simultaneously. What else are you working on?
That's a problem,
right
isn't
now?
it?
Well, most entrepreneurs are that day. They're visionaries, and they're constantly seeking to solve the problems of this world.
Yeah.
So what do you see out there also, in addition to the restaurant business?
Oh, I think the world is full of opportunities to solve real problems. Including how to build a country to adapt to new demands from the world of technology and world of money and all the growth issues that we are having, to very simple things like where's the next big thing? Is the big thing in water, in environment, in clean tech? I mean, where is it? There are so many opportunities that are out there. I think we've just barely begun our, industrialization 2.0.
How do you answer that question? What's the next big issue that we have to solve out there?
I think education is one of the biggest issues that we have to solve.
Mm-hmm. Education, in what respect?
Well, for one thing, I'd say that I'm actually paraphrasing Nicholas Negroponte, who is one of the, I think he was the head of the MIT Media Labs, not until recently. He suggested that until the 20th century, you considered somebody intelligent when they gave you the right answers. And he goes on to say that in the 21st century and beyond, you're going to call somebody intelligent when they ask you the right questions.
Interesting.
And our education until now has always been talking about, how much do you know? But these days you have Google. You can look up just about anything you want. So answers are not the problem. Having all these various answers and information and tidbit, can you craft questions can you identify what's the next best thing to solve?
Yeah.
Where do our problems lie? Are we going to run out of water very soon, so that we need to identify how to solve that?
It's interesting that as you crafted that so cleverly, in the past it had always been about are you answering the questions right, and so depending on who is asking the questions, you would get the expected results. Right. But now with knowledge so readily available, the iPhone, the Androids, people can Google what they need to know. There seems to be a crossover. It is, and it may be that wisdom is now becoming more important than knowledge itself.
Absolutely. I think wisdom has always been more important than knowledge of a particular subject itself. It's putting interdisciplinary is the key phrase. We see that in technology now. Technology is now part of everything. Technology is part of solving military problems. Technology is part of solving wealth problems, and all of that. And technology is pervasive. So now you look at things like, can I combine technology and food? What does that mean? All of a sudden, we've been shopping for the longest time until 2000. But these days, when you think of shopping, you don't necessarily mean getting into your car and going to a mall to buy something.
Yeah.
So technology has changed that. Similarly, I think our lives are going to be changed in such deep ways using technology or other disciplines, and I think a lot of the opportunities lie in those areas, combining two areas, combining healthcare and technology, combining food and healthcare, for example. That's another very big area, I think. Other than education, healthcare is going to be immensely a rich area for entrepreneurs over the next 10 years.
I have to believe that the social network works in this whole scheme also.
Yeah.
As we move forward, because aren't we in essence talking also about a numbers game? In other words, you may have the best technology and the best answer in the whole world, okay? But if nobody comes to the table saying we agree with you, then typically as a company it goes nowhere. So it's your ability to influence the mass populations that this solution is the best thing out there, and to get people engaged in coming aboard.
It's true. I think social networking and generally marketing now has been changed. You have a very easy way to get your message out. If you have a very strong message, you have a lot of platforms in which you can get your message out. But the key there is, are you able to talk about your value, the end value to the customer? And if you can crystallize the value you have, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, or any number of social media platforms, or LinkedIn, for example, all of them now give you a really good power to reach the people. Now, that way you can translate your ideas into companies and therefore improve your wealth.
I always say there's three things that you need in a business. Okay, first, you need to know the person, like the person, and trust the person. And when that becomes a two-way street of knowing, liking, and trusting, you got a customer.
Absolutely.
And the more that you're able to repeat that process again and again, the more likely you are to take that concept or that company and succeed.
Yeah, absolutely true. And also, I think social network give the companies or make the companies be true to themselves.
Yeah.
Because when they are not, it becomes very apparent, and all of a sudden, you're just becoming a noise. So when you're consistent and you're always giving value, you'll always rise above the noise.
So Ramesh, how does a person find the Station Café out there in San Carlos?
Oh, Station Café is right across from the Caltrain station in near downtown San Carlos. We are the intersection of East San Carlos Avenue and Old County Road. You can't miss it. When you're on the train, it's on the eastern side of the train tracks. It's a small little industrial-looking building. We come inside, we change the way in which you experience restaurants.
So Ramesh Manian, the founder and owner of the Station Café, best rated cafe in San Carlos.
Thank you, Alan. It's a pleasure being here.
Thank you. We'll be right back after these messages.
Discovering your keys to success. This is American Dreams on AM 1220 KDOW.